Hello everyone. It's been a while that I didn't see you. My name is Brian from DT Education. Today we're going to be talking about the financial capacity for student visa in Australia. So when you are applying a student visa in Australia, financial capacity is one of the most important criteria for us to be able to show to the immigration that you have sufficient money to be able to support yourself for the first 12 months. Let's begin. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for coming back and staying up in the channel. Okay, as we mentioned, we're going to be talking about financial capacity, and we are just wanting to making sure that you're understanding what are there to prove your financial capacity when applying your student visa in Australia. Good. All right, there are three types of evidence that we can use to be able to provide the financial capacity when we are applying student visa. So number one is savings at bank, which is how much money you have in your bank account. And we'll talk more about it in the future later. And we've got annual income for the past 12 months from the time of the application that we'll be making. And also the third option is the loans. Let's go into little details from these slides. All right, so savings at bank. So literally the same meaning as I've mentioned, how much you have in your bank. So that's what it is. So the evidence of sufficient fund is required to cover the items below. So first of all, Australian government and immigration does not want you to be homeless, and they want to make sure that for the first 12 months you are covered for all the living cost plus the study cost as well as the travel cost if you're coming from offshore. And you don't even need to work for the first 12 months, and you will still be able to have sufficient fund for you to maintain your stay in Australia. And that's what they basically want, because a lot of students sometimes they come to Australia without the financial proof, and they come in without money, and instead of they thinking that, oh, I was gonna get a job in the future, but then somehow once they get into Australia they might not get a job because of their busy studying life, and financially they get tightened up. So what happened? They will have to withdraw from the course, and they will have an issue with the visa system and all that kind of things, because they're not going to be meeting the visa requirement, which is a full-time study during the student visa period. All right. So that's why Australian government and immigration wants you to make sure that for the 12 months period of time, you have a sufficient fund. And they would like to check it before you put the application in to be able to make your visa grant successfully. All right. So in terms of the amounts, the living cost that immigration has set out for one person to live in Australia is $21,041 that you need to show the proof that you have this much of money in your bank account. And also at the same time, you need to be able to pay the 12 months of the tuition fee. So, well, tuition fees can be varied. It can start from $6,000, or it can even go more than $10,000 if you are enrolling for a university, right? So let's say, presuming that if you are choosing a cheapest course, which is $6,000, which means you will need to also show either the money of $6,000 in your bank account, or if you have already paid the tuition fee and the receipt of the payment, which is substituted by COE, confirmation of enrollment, and that document can be proven as that you have $6,000 that you used to have in the bank account before we launched the visa. All right, and if you're coming from overseas, from different country to Australia, you will definitely need the fund for you to be able to buy the flight ticket into this country. All right. So some people do ask me this question: if I have $21,041, will I be able to come to Australia without making a payment of tuition fee or the travel cost? No, this all three of them needs to be covered for us to be able to prove the fund. But more details, please do contact me and I'll give you much more in detail and in-depth explanation about this. Right, cool. The next page is about the couple and family applicants. So the one that I've actually explained before was all about the single applicant. If you're not married and if you're applying for yourself, yes, that's the case. But now we are just going to quickly go through about the couple or the family applicants, how much would they need. So compared to the single, which is $21,041 that you need to prove. But let's say if you're coming with your partner plus one child, then it will be an additional $7,362 for a spouse and $3,152 for a child. All right, so you gotta have main applicant fee, which is $21,041 plus $7,362 for an adult for your spouse, and for the child $3,152. All that summed up money will need to be kept in your bank to be able to prove that you have this much money. And also at the same time, tuition fee, as I've mentioned, is going to be the same. But let's say if your child is at a schooling age, which means he needs to go to school or she needs to go to school, then which means that school fee needs to be also to be proven for the first 12 months of the tuition fee. And this is the cost that, as you see, $12,628 is a given tuition fee for a government and public school for year one or prep students. So it can start from there. Yeah, I'm just giving you an idea roughly how much it's going to cost for them to study for 1 year in Australia. Okay, and the travel cost, obviously, you're not traveling yourself. If you're traveling with your family members, obviously, it will be multiplied by the parcel number of people that you'll be traveling with. Right. So, now the most important question. Like, if I'm a student, I wouldn't have that much money in my bank account. So, therefore, we've got a little bit of an extra. Who could be your sponsor in terms of your financing? So you could have some savings for yourself as well too. But additionally, the savings from your parents or savings from spouse or defector who you are having a relationship with, they can also be the sponsor of your financial proof. So the combination of, let's say if you have $5,000 in your bank account and your parents has $20,000 in their bank account, for example, then there will be $25,000 to prove. And that's what I'm trying to say. So the combined savings at the bank needs to be shown. But just so you know, no other people other than the people above that I've mentioned will not be able to be your sponsor, such as your sister, your brother, or your friend, uncle, auntie. No, it needs to be parents or myself or spouse or defector. All right, and to prove the document, well, you will need the 3 months of bank statement that is indicated that that much amount needs to be sitting in that account for more than 3 months. Right, that's very, very important. Okay, now that's all about the savings, the cash savings that you've got in the bank account. Next, the option 2. If you think that it's not possible for you to prove that much of money from your family, from your spouse, or for yourself, well, this is an interesting one, an annual income. So immigration wants to see the past 12 months of the annual income from your parents or your spouse or de facto. So for a single applicant, as long as the parent or spouse income is more than Australian dollar of $62,222. Yes, that could also be the financial proof for your student visa application. And for a couple application, your parents would need at least $72,000 and $592. And please note, this is the gross amount and it's before tax. So to prove the income, there will be few documentations that may need. Remember, evidence must be in the form of official government documentation, such as tax assessment or tax return. And also, like, it could be supported by payslips or business financial documents if your parents are or your partner is running a business. Cool, that's pretty simple. Let's go to the next page. The third one is the loan. All right, you could take this scholarship loan or student loan. It could be personal loan, a bank loan, or using the equity from your own property that you have purchased the house before. Or we could also alternatively use the credit card or line of credit to be able to make your fund available. And that comes back to the the option one, that you then have the sufficient fund in your bank account. Then we could use those liabilities to prove your fund as well too. But we have to just make sure that the official loan documents needs to be prepared as well too, and the proof of fund after settlement of the loan. Yeah, that you have that much of money that now in your bank account. And also now we need some kind of a plan that how you are actually going to make the repayment towards this loan as well too. And the repayment schedule documentation would be a necessary document for you to be able to provide the financial capacity through the loan. Right? So there are 3 steps that I've just given you today. Savings, which means your cash, or it could be the parents or the spouse income that you could use that as financial capacity proof. And also, lastly, you could also take the student or government or what sort of loan that you may think of, and that could also be the proof of finance for your student visa in Australia. So if you got any questions, right, you know what to do. Send me an email. I've got my contact details right out there. You could send me a WhatsApp message, or you can even leave a comment below, or contact me anyhow. I'll be always available for you. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.